August 11th, 2009, by A. True Ott. WHO's Citizen Jane Burgermeister continues to expand her fraud and disinformation campaign. The dictionary defines disinformation as 1. Deliberately misleading information announced publicly or leaked by a government or especially by an intelligence agency in order to influence public opinion or the government in another nation. Quote, he would be the unconscious channel for a piece of disinformation aimed at another country's intelligence service, unquote. Ken Follett. 2. Dissemination of such misleading information. The dictionary defines fraud as 1. Deceit, trickery, sharp practice, or breach of confidence, perpetrated for profit or to gain some unfair or dishonest advantage. 2. A particular instance of such deceit or trickery, mail fraud, election frauds. 3. Any deception, trickery, or humbug. That diet book is a fraud and a waste of time. 4. A person who makes deceitful pretenses, sham, poseur. On June 22, 2009, A. True Ott, Ph.D., N.D., hosted a radio broadcast on RBN titled Born on the 4th of July. His guest on this show was a woman from Austria named Jane Burgermeister. Burgermeister and Dr. Ott, for months prior to the show, had worked jointly in accumulating evidence and legal documentation concerning possible illegal activities concerning the outbreak of the pandemic swine flu in the U.S. and other activities concerning Baxter Pharma in Europe. During the month of June, Ms. Burgermeister began making public declarations that she had, quote, unofficially filed criminal charges, unquote, against high-ranking public officials in the U.S. courts, including the current president, Barack Obama. On or about July 8, 2009, Dr. Ott pressed Ms. Burgermeister to provide conclusive proof of her vitriolic public claims by providing legal documentation in the form of court receipts and docket numbers that said charges had indeed been filed. Burgermeister responded to Dr. Ott's query by falsely accusing him and publicly slandering his good name, leveling him in return with unfounded charges of, quote, conspiracy with Baxter, unquote, of having covert, quote, complicity with the CIA, unquote, and even of, quote, practicing Satanism, unquote. Because of her failure to provide the requested documentation, and in response to her patently false charges, Dr. Ott began to publicly air his concerns that Jane was a disinformer and therefore a fraud. Dr. Ott felt the need to do this in order to distance himself from being an accomplice to a possible federal crime. Recently, Ms. Burgermeister chose to continue her disinformation campaign against Ott et al., and further chose to multiply her international fraud by choosing to post this video on YouTube. This malicious video continues to falsely portray Drs. Evangelista, Dr. Deagle, and Dr. Ott, as well as Ms. Devi Kidd, as pawns and agents of the WHO and the CDC. This is actionable as it is patently untrue and is pure, quote, disinformation, unquote. Moreover, the video portrays a court document, quote unquote, filed in New Jersey as being the, quote, evidence, unquote, that Ott's charges against Burgermeister are wrongful and invalid. However, the New Jersey court records showed that this, quote, paperwork, unquote, was filed on July 31st, 2009, a full 3 weeks after Ott made his demands on Burgermeister. This is prima facie evidence of fraud. Again, this video willingly and with malice aforethought was made for the express purpose of disinforming the public, and therefore meets the full legal definition of fraud under the U.S. and international criminal codes. Signed, A. True Ott, Ph.D., N.D., 11 August 2009. Please copy and forward this video and its message to everyone you can. And for more information, continue to follow the latest postings at labvirus.wordpress.com.